So amazing. So hi, good evening everyone. Hi Vanchika. How are you?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. You tell.
I'm also great. So everyone who's watching us live on YouTube, good evening everyone, and we hope you had a great Tuesday. अच्छा खाना मिला, सबने खा लिया है, and dessert भी अच्छा से मिला आप लोगों को. So great, and welcome to the GitHub session that we have organized for you all with Jyoti Bisht ma'am. Just an introduction, Jyoti ma'am is currently working as a community manager at Appwrite, and she has been Devrel intern at Gina AI, which is a very leading open source organization. She has a lot of experience with open source, and she is a team lead at Curtis Cafe also. And we are very grateful that she is joining us again, because last time many of you weren't able to join the session because we reached the limit. I was so Team AlgoByte was so happy to have more than hundreds of participants in that workshop, and we are so happy to bring you another one. And we will share all the resources that ma'am shared with us, and you'll get access to all of them. Do not worry. Just a quick tip: if you can open GitHub, like I'll share the link, www.github.com. If you can share that and create an account before ma'am joins us, that will be great. And let's get started in few minutes. Okay. Till then, please do open www.github.com and create an account. Okay. Thank you. Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Hey,
Good evening, ma'am.
how are you? How's everybody?
Yeah, great. Yeah. So today we are doing the live stream thing, and we have a lot of participants live with us on YouTube right now. And I have just given them your introduction and asked them to create an account on GitHub if they haven't already. And we were just waiting for you.
Okay, great. Have you given them the Google Meet link also so they can see if they want to join and directly interact with me, maybe?
So again, the number of participants we have are really high right now. So we were just hoping we will do the live stream, and whatever questions we'll have on the YouTube chat, we'll discuss it here.
Okay. Also, in the description itself, it's written community manager engineer, which is not true. It's community support engineer. Can you change that?
Okay, I'll do that immediately. No
Yeah.
worries. Sorry for the inconvenience. Also, ma'am, we had one request, like if you could go a little bit slow with all the process, because the internet in Banasthali is not that fast. So
Mhm.
whatever, like if you're asking them to create an account, it will take them more than usual amount of time to do that, because internet is quite slow in Banasthali.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, great. That was one thing I wanted to add. So we have introduced you to them, and yeah, we're just waiting for you to take over.
Great. So let me just. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you everyone for joining in today. And let me open all the links that I might need for today so that I'm not slacking off anywhere and I can send you all those links also, which is how it should be done. So let me just. Okay, great. So we did already a session together a few days back on Sunday, I think. And at that time, not a lot of people could join. So we are doing it again, and this time on YouTube as well. So That is awesome. And if you want, you can directly interact with me and you can just send your questions in the chat itself so that we are not lagging behind anything and everything. And let's just go to GitHub and what GitHub is. So just to get an idea in the chat itself, can you guys write in the chat how well versed you are with GitHub? Like if you have used GitHub and you know how to use GitHub, so please write +1 in the chat. If you don't know how to use GitHub and Git, then please can you write -1 in the chat? That would be great. So I have an idea and overview of all the things. I'll just wait for a minute because I know YouTube lags behind the original cast. Okay, so I cannot see the chat. I think so there is some problem. Can Madhu, you or anyone else can see?
Yeah, just a second. I'll tell you. So 4 people have written -1, and yeah, we have more responses coming in.
Okay, great. Can you write +4 in the chat if you know how to use Git and GitHub? -1 if you don't. Just I could wait till then. So let's start by sharing my screen. So we are now on GitHub. Okay, this is what GitHub's website looks like when you're not signed in. Okay. So what is GitHub? A lot of people might tell you that, hey, this is a version control and things like that. But what does it actually mean? So if we go on, say I go on the internet and I'm like, what is GitHub? I don't know. As a beginner, I'm not sure, right? So I'm going to see Git repository hosting service. Okay, but I don't even know what Git is, right? So let's see what is Git actually. So I can see over here version control system that tracks changes in any set of computer files. So now I'll ask you a very, very relatable question. When you create a file or folder, have you ever done that you create a project and you name it final project? Then again, you change it and name it final project 1. Then again, you change it and name it final project 2, like this. And finally, you write it updated final project and stuff like that. You keep on doing this, but it's of no use, right? Because obviously, give me 1 second. Because obviously, we are not able to. Please pin my screen. Okay, yeah, that's good. If you could pin my screen. I think Madhu or someone else. AlgoByte, the one who is using AlgoByte's account. Can you pin my screen, please?
Yeah, done, ma'am.
Great, thank you. So where were we? So we were on Git, okay? So you might have done this, that you made changes to a file and 1000 बार आपने नाम change करके उसको save किया होगा. But this only increases memory on your system, and which is not good, right? So Git is actually the tool that you use to maintain the versions. What are versions? Which is like final updated file, final 1, final 2, final 3. These all are different versions of the same file after making changes to it, okay? So Git helps you store all the versions, and it allows you to have, I'm not able to put into words because I'm swamped right now. But yeah, and where all of this is stored, where all of this is hosted is GitHub. Okay, as you can see, it is a Git repository hosting service. And now we'll dive deeper. First, we'll dive into GitHub, and then we'll go into Git. So basically, for GitHub, just think of it as a social media website where you're doing stuff, interacting things, and you're uploading files, interacting with things. So what you're going to do is, if you haven't already created an account, you're going to sign up for GitHub. But if you have an account, you can sign in, okay? And if I sign in, okay, my username, enter your username. And then it's loading. I'm going to use my sign in, and this is what your homepage will look like. Okay, and it's totally fine if you are not able to create it, the GitHub um, account right now. You can create it afterwards also. Okay, let's go to our own profile. Now a lot of people might think that this is what the profile looks like, which it actually isn't true. Not all of your profiles will have a readme. Okay, so can anyone just give me a random username? Madhu, maybe you can give me a random username. That do you have a GitHub account?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a readme?
Yeah, I do.
You do. Okay, is there any from the chat itself, anyone who wants to give me their username who doesn't have like um a readme in their profile?
Um, Vanshika, do you have readme on your profile? Yeah, she does. Okay.
Okay, it's totally fine. Let's go ahead and continue with the README file itself. So what README is, as the name suggests, it tells you that hey, first read me and then move forward. So now we'll go to repositories and we'll understand how you actually create something. So when you're creating a repository, think of repository as a folder. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a new repository and let us say that this is AlgoByte demo. Okay, and description, you can use any description you want. So my description is, this is the repo for the workshop hosted by AlgoByte. I'm going to create it public so that a lot of you can see it. Like anyone on the internet can see it. If you're going to choose private, then nobody will be able to see it except for you and your collaborators. Then add a README file and then create repository. Okay. So this is what my repo looks like. What is a repo? Repo is the short form for repository. And what is a repository? It is a folder. Okay. Now you can add different folders, different files in itself. So I'm going to create a new file. Let's call it as anything. Let's call it main.python. Okay. Or let's call it one. Let's call it one.python. And I'll be like, this is my first Python file, and I'll be like, let's say greeting is equal to hello world, print greeting. Okay, this is my Python code, and now I have to save this code. Okay, I have to save this code. This is the name of the file, and now I have to save this code. So what I can do is I can make it as commit new file. This is what is known as the message, and this is a description. Okay, so if you don't add any message, this is the default message that will show. Okay, but if I say that added first Python file, this is the commit message. Commit message is basically, it describes what your action is. So I added a new Python file, and this is what my commit message looks like. But I can make it anything. That hey, I can add it like one. I can add any commit message. Depends on me. But it is not to write good commit messages. So please make your commit messages as descriptive as possible, so that we are able to, the person who is seeing your project is able to understand and analyze. But if I write over here updated the repo, it's hard to understand what did you update the repo with, what changes did you make. So please make it easy for the viewer, for the person who's viewing your profile, who's viewing your repository. And let's go with created first Python file. Okay, if you want, you can add a description. If you don't want, then it's fine. And now it is come directly to the main branch and new branch. So don't worry, we'll discuss about this in branching, which is after 10 minutes. First, let us commit new file, which is actually your form of saying saving. So if you can see on the repo, now it will show one.py. Okay. And you can see the commit messages written in front of it. Now this is the readme. I want to edit the readme also. I can go to the edit button and I can be like, this is my first heading. First heading. This is my second heading. Okay, and what I'll do is commit changes again. Now this time I'm not going to write any commit message. Okay, I'm going to show you what default commit message looks like. This will be the default commit message. GitHub gives you a default commit message. And let's commit the changes. Let's go back to my repo and I can see, okay, now my changes are reflected over here. But now you'll notice one thing, that this heading is bigger than this heading. How is that possible? Right? How is this possible that this heading is actually bigger than this heading? It's because something known as markdown. So as you can see, README has an extension known as .md, which is the extension for markdown. So markdown, if you go over here, markdown, basic syntax, I'll show you. Markdown is actually a way you write things, and it has its own syntax. So we'll just go over that syntax pretty quickly. And then see, if you put one hashtag, it will give you this heading level 1. If you put 2 hashtags, it will give you this much. If you put 3 hashtags, then it will give you heading level 3. If you put where did it go? If you put stars in front, if you put the text between stars, it will make it bold. So this is what markdown looks like. Now if you see carefully, this is hashtag 1, so this heading will be heading 1. There are 2 hashtags, so heading 2. So I'll just put the link of basic syntax over here itself, and I'll be putting all the links so you can see all the links afterwards. Now let's go back to our repo. So what we understood till now is how we can make changes, how we can commit those changes, how we can write commit messages. Very intuitive UI, very good UI. And now a question arises that what if I wanted to add folder? So you can write folder 1, and just put a slash in front of it. It will create a folder, as you can see. Now you can write over here 2.py, and you can just commit. Now we did not even create, we did not even write a commit message, but still it shows a commit message, which is a default commit message, okay? So you can see we have all these things, which is great. Now, this is what GitHub looks like, but GitHub is a website. We don't own that website, right? Now, I'm going to give you 2 options, 2 or 3, let's see. First option, the scenario, the situation. I have a huge project, okay? The project has a lot of different lines, and the project has a lot of different things going on and stuff like that. For example, this is a project, and it has 4 folders. It has a lot of folders inside those folders, a lot of files inside those folders, and I want to upload this to GitHub. Okay. Now, one way to do this could be that I keep on doing add file, create new file, and I copy paste everything over here. So for example, this is the code. I create example auth. So I'll go back and I'll create example auth folder. Inside that, I will create, let's say, src folder. Inside that, I will create this app.js file. I just copy paste it and I name it app.js, and I copy paste this and I commit new file. This is a way to do this, but I will have to do it for different files. I have to copy paste it and then do it like that. So or the second option that I have is that I take this repo, create a copy of it in my laptop, then make the changes and then upload it back to GitHub. Okay. So what do you think is a better way to do this? First or second? I'll just wait for your answers. I'll just go to the chat and wait for the answers. because I know there happens a lag between there is almost every time a lag between YouTube and Google Meet. So what do you think is a better way to do it? The first one or the second one? Second one. Exactly. So let's go with the second one. So I'm going to bring this folder in my own laptop. So what I'm going to do is going to copy paste. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to copy paste HTTPS. I'm going to my code editor, which is VS Code. I'm going to a new window, and I'm going to Command Shift P if you are on Mac, Git clone. But a lot of you might not have this, so let me show you the actual way to do it. Let's open a folder. Let's create a new folder, which is AlgoByte demo 1. Open it over here. I opened this. Now remember the URL we copy pasted. I'm going to now, please listen carefully. We are going to use Git over here. Now, just very quick thing. If you are on Mac already, you might have Git installed. So you can do Git minus version to see if your Git is installed in your laptop. For me, it is installed. If you are on Windows, I'm going to add a link over here how to do it. This is the tutorial of how to install Git in your laptops. If you are on Mac, you can see it. If you are on Windows, you can also see how you're going to install it. Now, after you have done with installing, you just go back to the folder. And now we are going to use Git for everything. Okay. We are going to copy paste this link. We are going to do Git clone. Now, please remember when you're using Git, every command of yours is going to start with this keyword, which is Git. And then you can use things in front of that. You can use commands in front of that. So Git clone, copy paste the URL, and it is cloning your repo. So if you go over here, it will show after the cloning is done. So please give it some time. And now if you go over here, you can see all the files and all the folders that are over here are indeed what you see in your laptop, right? You can see everything, which is great. Now I'll just do a cd ls. Okay, I think so I have one folder in it. Where did it go? I'm sorry, I unfortunately clicked on a different. I will just go to I think so. I've made a mistake. I don't even know the location of my repo. So just give me 1 second while I figure out where the location is. Okay. So I just had the wrong name of the folder. I'll just go back. So as you can see, we are over here. Then let's go to cd AlgoByte demo 1. And we have all the things, right? We have everything that we need. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write whatever code I want to, and then I'm going to just push it. So for example, the code that I wanted to write was, let's say the code that I wanted to write was, I'll just add a new folder in this, and I will write test folder because we are testing right now. Inside this, I'll write test1.py, then I'll write test2.py. Okay, and I will make changes to the README also, and I'll write things like that. This is my third heading. I'll delete all of this and I'll just write this is the only heading I need. Okay, so these are my changes that I made. But right now, if you go on GitHub, if you go over here and you refresh it, you will not be able to see the changes because right now what changes I made is only in my local system. Okay, it's not on GitHub. It's not hosted anywhere. So you can see the old version of README, but I have made changes. I have made changes over here, and I want this is the only heading I need. I'll just delete this one so that you're not confused. This is the I want this to be reflected, okay? So I'll delete this also, and I just want this much in my README. Okay. So what I do for this is command git status. Please note down or just remember these commands very carefully because these are important ones. Git status. So git status shows me what are the modified files and what are the added folders or files. So I know I added a test folder and git tells me that, hey, you added this folder. I know that. I also modified readme. So git is telling me that also, which is good. And these are unstaged changes. What are unstaged changes? So first, what happens is, first, you make the changes, then you stage those changes, then you commit those changes, and then you finally push those changes. Okay, this is how the flow goes. Now, for the command, for this there is no command because आपको जो भी change करना है, you can do this, right? For staging changes, git add. This is the command for staging changes. Now, for committing changes, the command is git commit minus m flag and the commit message. I told you, right? We have to write commit messages all the time. And then pushing those changes will be git push. So let's try with this, okay? I'm going to also let it be on README so if it is written on README, it should be reflected on my GitHub. So what I'm going to do is git add. I modified the files readme.md and I added the folder this. So what I have to do is name of the file readme.md and git add test folder. But if I made a lot of changes, for example, अगर मैंने यहाँ पे, if I would have written 1.python, if I would have written 2.python, if I would have written 3.python, whatever it is, 4.python, stuff like that. If I wrote 100 files and I have to stage all of those, then I cannot keep doing this, right? Bar I cannot add git command, git add. So what you can do is git add, then a full stop, which will add everything that you have in this, okay? Now, next step is committing. We are going to do git commit. Minus m flag is for message. These are my changes. This is my commit message, okay? But this is not a good commit message. So we are going to delete this and I'm going to write it that I added 4 files, changed readme and added a folder. Great. So we have a lot of things. Now let's do git push. So it's running and it will give me the result soon once it's pushed. Great. Now if I go to GitHub, I refresh my repository. Great, I can see all my changes. I can see all the changes that I made. Great. Now, please write +1 in the chat if you understood what I did till now. And -1 if you don't understand. So of course, there is a lag. I'll wait, it's fine. Can you write +1 in the chat if you understood everything that we discussed till now, and -1 if you did not understand? I will take the silence as you all understood everything and move forward. Great. So we are done with installing Git. We are done with Markdown. We are done with everything. Now I'm just going to share Git commands so that you're able to see things. Now the last thing that we have to discuss is Git branching, which is very important. Okay. Now what we are going to do is right now, if you see over here, you can see main arrow main. So that is we are on the main branch and we have pushed to main branch. So the command is git branch. So right now we are on main branch. And if you want to see it on GitHub, you can see it over here. अभी main branch पे हैं हम, ठीक है? But what if your project has a lot of contributors? Say for example, since I work at Appwrite and Appwrite is a very great community, let's go to Appwrite. Appwrite is a very great project and it has a wonderful community. So let's go to Appwrite and see there are 274 contributors, which is a great number. But if every one of those are making some changes, there has to be a method in which the changes are made. There has to be some kind of overview. There has to be some kind of things. So why this is important, I'll tell you from my example. If, for example, you all take my repository, you all delete the README, and you all write, this is hacked. And you all take my folder and delete it. Delete my folder and you delete my files too. Okay. And then you do git status, git add all, git commit -m. The project was changed by a contributor. Git push. Great. And I just go back and if I see my repo, you can see my project has some changes that I didn't want. Okay. Obviously now I can go back to the version it previously was on because this is a version control system and we can go back to everything we want to, but it's not a good practice, right? Now, if I want to go back to all of these things, then what I can do is okay, yeah. So what I can see is what the changes were made, right? And I can see these changes that, okay, somebody did this and I can go and copy paste again and make those folders again. But this is not a good practice, right? I don't want any person to infiltrate things like that. So that is why I don't allow people to push things on main. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell contributors that, hey, please create a different branch and then ask me to merge that branch. And only if I approve the changes, only then we can go back. So this is the main branch. Just think of it as the main branch. Somebody pushed 2 changes from a different branch and is asking me to merge it over here. Now I have the decision, I have the call, I have the responsibility to merge this only after I have checked all the changes are safe and okay. So let's see how we make a different branch. Okay, git checkout -b. Name of the branch can be let's say feature demo. Okay. Now if we go to git branch, there is one more branch and we are on feature demo branch. Now what I do is some other contributor, a very kind contributor, told me that I'm going to fix this, and I'm like, okay, just create a different branch and then add things. So I'm going to add, this is my first heading. This repo is not hacked anymore. It's not hacked anymore. So this is what the contribution looks like from the contributor. And now git status, git add all, git commit -1. I fixed the files. Git push will give me an error because I have not set upstream. So let's set upstream. Everything is pushed. So if I go over here, if I refresh it, I will be able to see the new commit changes. Okay, the new commits, I will be able to see that. Now, a lot of you might have heard of pull request, what it is. So pull request is when you are telling the when you are telling the repo owner that, hey, I made these changes, can you approve them and merge those? So it is a way to tell you what your changes are, what your intentions with those changes are, and stuff like that. So open a pull request, then I create a pull request. Think of me as a contributor right now. Now, let's switch back to being the maintainer. I am a maintainer, okay? I go to pull request and I see somebody fixed the file. What did the person fix? Okay, they added a new commit messages, which is great. So I can approve these changes and I can merge pull request. Confirm merge. And then if I go back to my repo, you can see this repo is not hacked anymore. This is how branching works. You can see the branches over here also, and you can see all the things that are done. So Git branching is very, very important thing to learn because branches, basically everything runs on branches. And if you have a lot of contributors, it is always a good practice not to commit changes directly to main branch. So please, please, please don't do that. Last but not the least, as we are nearing the end of the session, let's see some Git commands. Git add, you all know that. Git branch, I right now told you. Git checkout, I told you, right? And git clean, git clone, we used at the start. Git commit, we used it. And then git config, I don't think so, you might need it very often. But git merge, to merge two branches. Git, like basically right now we did it with UI, but you can also do it like with your command line. Git remote, git reset, git revert, git status. Revert is basically undoing whatever you did. Okay, so for example, if you committed something that's bad, then you can click on git revert and it will go back to its original version. Great. Now, next things. So I think an intro to Git and GitHub is a very good place to start with your journey. And this is the best tutorial that I could ever find out because I have seen this so many times and I've told this to other people. If you want to practice, if you want to practice pull request and open source and merging and stuff like that, you can use this repository that we created right now and you can try, first of all, fork it. Okay, create your own copy because right now it is just my copy, it's my copy, and then you have to first fork it, then clone it, make the changes, add your own changes, and you can just use this repo as a way of practicing. Okay, and I think that's it. Now, if you have any questions, I would love those. If you don't, we can call it a day. And for the links, I'm going to send you the links one by one. So you all have the links. And don't worry if you are not able to find. Last but not the least, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn so that we can discuss more about it. And apart from that, I don't think so. Git and GitHub is actually very easy if you want to try it. But at first, it might seem a bit intimidating, but please don't be at all scared of it. Great. So do we have any questions or we can call it a day?
I guess we can finish it up.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and let's collaborate on even more sessions in the coming future.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye, everyone.